Hello. Today I will be presenting a sermon for the special occasion of Thanksgiving. So just a heads up before I begin so you can take that into consideration. All right. So to begin with, I just want to thank you guys for watching this sermon, for taking the time to come with me to delve into the Word of God. And this week we are going to be talking about thankfulness. We are entering into a season of Thanksgiving, and that means a lot of different things for people. Some people think it's all about food and about how much you can eat on this one amazing day where there isn't any limitations on what you can eat, or some people think it's about family. And then others are concentrate on having a grateful heart, for really being thankful for what they have. So because of that, we are talking about Thanksgiving. Thankfulness is kind of taught to us when we are little in the form of our parents teaching us how to say thank you. I know me personally, if I didn't say thank you, I would get a pinch in the back. And that could come at any time. It was just a reminder to say, hey, you need to say thank you. Especially if you grew up in the South. I'm from Virginia, and so this was just something that you had to know as a kid forever. It was just something that was ingrained in you, was to say thank you. And looking at that, you would think that we all, just because of that, would continually be thankful, right? However, a lot of us forget about Thanksgiving. We kind of pass it off. And I actually have some scriptural evidence for this. And we're going to take a look at that. That's going to be in Luke 17:11 through 18. Forgetting about Thanksgiving actually is something that has happened even in the biblical days. So we're going to take a look. We're going to get started on verse 11, and it says, "Now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into the village, 10 men who had had leprosy met him. They stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, 'Jesus, Master, have pity on us.' When he saw them, he said, 'Go, show yourselves to the priest.' And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw that he had been healed, came back, praising God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. He was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, 'Were not all 10 cleansed? Did not 10 people get healed? Where did the other 9 go? Has no one but one person returned to give thanks?'" So today, we are going to look at what it means to be the one out of the 10. The one out of the 10 that remembers and acknowledges the fact that we need to say thank you. The first thing to knowing that, the first thing to being the one out of the 10 is to acknowledge that Thanksgiving is important. That Thanksgiving really is essential. And we see this throughout the Bible because it is articulated in the way that it is shown apart from praise, it's shown apart from prayer. It is mentioned multiple times throughout the Bible as being set apart from those things. One really awesome reference is in 1 Chronicles 16:41 and 42. However, we're going to start in verse 37, okay? So we get a little bit of context. This is about David, and he has set up a tent for the Ark of the Covenant, and the Ark of the Covenant was the place in which God dwelt in the Old Testament, okay? This is where God's presence was. And so David had set up a tent for it, and once he had put the Ark of the Covenant within this tent, he gave different people jobs to do in this tent, okay? And we're going to list those jobs. So David left Asaph and his relatives there before the Ark of the Covenant of the Lord to minister before the Ark continually, as each day's work required, okay? And Obed-Edom with his 68 relatives. Okay, Obed-Edom, the son of Jeduthun, and Hosea were gatekeepers. Okay, these guys were gatekeepers. David left Zadok, the priest, and his relatives in that dwelling place of were going to be priests before the dwelling place of the Lord in the high place, which was at Gibeon. Okay, they were to be priests, and they were to offer burnt offerings to the Lord on the altar of burnt offering continually. So these priests were to offer sacrifices morning and evening in accordance with what was written in the law of the Lord, which he commanded Israel. All right. With them were Heman and Jeduthun, and the rest were chosen and designated by name. Okay, these guys were designated by name to give thanks to the Lord, for his loving kindness endures forever. So these guys, their jobs were to give thanks. We had priests, we had gatekeepers, we had people giving offerings. If you go on down, there's a couple other guys that are assigned to trumpets and cymbals. But these guys were specifically given to Thanksgiving. That was their entire job. Imagine that. How important is it for us to give Thanksgiving? Because these guys, that's all they did. They were set there specifically for Thanksgiving. And this wasn't the only occasion that this had happened. In Nehemiah, whenever the Israelites had come out of captivity, out of years and years of captivity, they came back and were rebuilding the city of Jerusalem. And in the midst of that, there were choirs on certain walls that were required to just give thanks to God. This is in Nehemiah 12:31. If you guys want to look it out, we're not going to delve into it right now. But for further studies, I do encourage you guys to look that up to see that. That's Nehemiah 12:31. These choirs were designated just for thankfulness, right? In Revelations, this is at the very end of the Bible, okay? In Revelations, we see the Apostle John having a vision of the throne room of God. And in that vision, he sees angels giving praise, okay, to God. And in that, they are assigning him glory, they assign him honor and praise, and they specifically assign him thanksgiving. Because of the fact it is set apart, we see how important it is, because it wouldn't keep coming back up if it wasn't. We see how important Thanksgiving is, and how much we should be a people of thanksgiving. In the New Testament, we're going to see where Jesus gave thanks. We're going to see him giving thanks two times in particular. He gave thanks whenever he was at feeding the 5,000. He gave thanks over the food, and at the Last Supper, which was the last dinner he had with his disciples before he was crucified, Jesus himself gave thanks. So if the Son of God gave thanks, we ourselves are to be his disciples, to look just like him, are also to give thanks, are also to join in and give thanks to God for everything that we have. Philippians 4:6 says that our prayers should be full of thanksgiving. I'm going to read it off right quick. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. It says we are to pray with thanksgiving. And in Psalms 95, 1-2, it tells us to sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and songs. So our songs should be full of thanksgiving. As we enter into the presence of God, we should be full of thanksgiving, full of a grateful heart for everything that he has done. And it is not to be done just in one time of the year. I know this is the Thanksgiving time, and this is kind of when people can focus on being thankful, because we have a holiday that's about it. However, to be a thankful person, to be the one out of the 10, we actually are to be thankful in all seasons. 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, "In everything, give thanks." Jesus is our example, and we talked about that. However, those 2 times that are recorded where he gave thanks, the first one was at a miracle. This was at a high point in his ministry. When things were going really great, he was giving thanks to God. And the other example was the supper right before his crucifixion. And this had to be a low point in his life. Knowing that he was about to die, he still gave thanks. So when we are in the highest of life, when we have life that is going great, when everything's going our way, we give thanks. However, whenever life isn't that great, whenever we are struggling, we are still to give thanks. And a great application of that is to be a thankful person in general. Because a thankful person means that you are appreciative of the sacrifice that someone else has made. To be a thankful person means you appreciate the person that is making the sacrifice. And to be a thankful person means you remove the idea that you deserved it. So as we enter into this time of Thanksgiving, to be the one out of the 10, right? We are going to remember the importance of Thanksgiving. We are going to choose to be a person or a people that are full of Thanksgiving. And we also are going to recognize that it's not just in this season. It is a continual state of mind that we are always thankful. In everything, give thanks. Thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you all have a great day.